was an article written out of Milwaukee, the Journal Sentinel, and I think it's kind of like what you would call a no substance article, right? And it was about the Kyle Rittenhouse here. Basically, this whole article, he's just calling him a fool and all kinds of names. But I find it funny, he did something that racist people do all the time after they say a racist comment and they get caught. The first defense is, well, I have a black friend, I say it to him all the time. So that's how he starts off, right? He says, I own guns, blah, 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 blah. My son, we all hunt. And I can say this because I cannot understand why anyone would think Kyle Rittenhouse is a hero, right? And some people are calling him a hero because what's happening is that when a cop who shoots an unarmed suspect, which is despicable, and the cop should go to jail for 40, 50 years, the rest of his life. It's disgusting. Often what happens, though, is a group of people will get together from all races. It just isn't one race, like Antifa, Black Lives Matter. And I think Antifa long ago should have been declared a terrorist organization. So they go and they tear up these cities. They tear them up, they put fires. And that was what was going on in this city. So Kyle Rittenhouse exercised his right to bear arms and I guess display weapon. That's not something I agree with. I agree you should bear arms. I just don't think you should walk around openly carrying them. I think there's too much fear going on with that. And I think that's the only law that probably should be changed. That's just my personal opinion. So what people are saying is because he exercised his right and he walked around, they're calling him a hero. Well, most people never watched the video. And the video shows a group of men walking up to him, pushing him on the ground, insulting him, and he fired back and killed him. Now, MSNBC did something funny. I'm going to show you that in a second here. But this state may or may not prove its case against Rittenhouse, who was all 17 years old when he shot people, leaving 2 of them dead, proven intentional, reckless, attempted homicide. I'm not for sure how. He didn't go there shooting people. He didn't walk up to a crowd and shooting. He didn't start shooting until he was shoved on the ground. So this right here is false information, false narrative, and proved too high of a bar for this particular jury. So this is the part I want you to pay attention to, right? Reckless and attempted homicide and reckless endangerment may be proof too high of a bar for this particular jury. So people are already starting to come out after the jury. I kid you not, they're literally coming after the jury. They haven't even deliberated when this article is out whether he was guilty or not. So the jury itself is already being attacked, right? So MSNBC, in all its glory, decided to attack the jury too. The jury who didn't even say guilty or not guilty. So while Kyle Rittenhouse jury continues deliberations, the judge announced that a man claiming to be a staffer with MSNBC was stopped and briefly taken into custody by Kenosha police on Wednesday night for allegedly following the bus containing the jurors in the case. The man told police that he was instructed by his bosses in New York to follow the bus. The judge said MSNBC will no longer be allowed in a courtroom for the duration, right? And apparently this is true. It's despicable, but it's true. So what's going on is people have already marked this guy guilty, but they haven't watched the video. So in the comments section, when I see somebody say, oh, he's guilty, he's automatically guilty. Did you watch the video? Did you see anything about the video, man? No? So that's what's happening. They are literally saying this guy's guilty. They didn't even bother watching the video. And that's what's happening. So MSNBC, they've been running this campaign against him, and they're trying to show him making his kid out to be a big crybaby, and they've been attacking the jury. And so when I've been watching, and somebody else made a comment on this, what the prosecutor's trying to do is trying to say that the first attack was him showing up. Now the question is, who has the right to protest and who don't? That's what it's going to come down to. So a bunch of people come to the city and they start fires. And so there was a witness there who I guess wasn't telling the full truth. They didn't want to tell the truth. And they were asked to witness how many people or how many fires were started already that day. He didn't want to answer. They didn't want to answer like how many homes were destroyed, if their businesses were destroyed. They didn't want to answer any of that, right? And so that's why Rittenhouse said he was there. Now, I don't like white supremacy. I hate white supremacy. I think it's deplorable. I really do. I think it's stupid, and I think racism is stupid. So it all comes down to this. Did Rittenhouse have a right to protest like anybody else? Did he have a right to walk down a public street? Now, the prosecutor's saying no because he was white and he walked down the street with black people. That was the first attack. That was his saying. And I think MSNBC and a lot of other news agencies, they know that they don't have a big case on this. That doesn't mean a jury might not find him guilty. Because apparently when you go to... So apparently when you go to deliberate as a juror, one of the things is you get a set of instructions, what you're allowed to rule on and what you're not allowed to rule on. The judge will say, okay, this evidence was dismissible, this evidence is allowed, and you are instructed that you have to base your opinion sometimes off what you're allowed according to the judge, and sometimes you're limited as a juror. Well, that's what they were trying to do. They're trying to limit it, the juror and everything, but I don't think it was enough. So MSNBC, they got this brilliant idea to follow the jurors around, and I think their plan was to find out who the jurors were, and they're going to get a hold of their names. And I think that they were going to try to compromise the case by talking to them, trying to say that, hey, look, that the jurors were not properly secured. They're trying to do future stories before it happened. Here's what angers me the most. You objectively put yourself into the news story. You objectively made yourself part of a news instead of reporting on the news. That's what separates a good news organization from a propaganda network. And right now, MSNBC is no different from Fox News. No different. You, instead of doing your job as a journalist, decide to like the article out of Milwaukee, you start name calling. You started name calling. You started immediately going after the guy's character. You guys sit there and say he was crybaby instead of just reporting on what was supposed to be, you were supposed to be reporting on. Because you were so much into propaganda, you didn't have enough self-discipline to know, hey, I shouldn't be following these jurors on the bus when they go. It's wrong. But anyway, this is my thoughts on it. And based off what I've seen in the video, I'm going to let you know right now, if somebody's holding the AR-15, black or white, you don't walk up to them and push them on the ground. That's stupid. But, man, America's tearing itself apart. Stop burning cities. Stop doing all this stupid stuff. You don't give yourself credibility. Well, Black Lives Matter first started off, I probably would have joined you guys. I don't like people shooting unarmed people. White people get shot unarmed too. Black people, a lot of it happens and it's sick. I don't like racist cops. I don't like when they plant drugs on people. It's stupid. But it don't mean you act stupid too. You understand? But MSNBC, man, you guys got to grow up. It's time for you guys to grow up.